Hey Twitter. So I've got a forward-facing camera range test I want to do here, and in order to do this, I've got the same scenario I did for the B-pillar test, but I've got a nice long straightaway here if I was going to be doing a turn, and we'll just do a little bit of range perception here. It worked pretty good on the other cameras, and if you remember on the B-pillar camera, we were able to detect cars about 150 to 190 was the very longest. But I think it was a pretty accurate test here. So I'm going to just sit here for a few minutes, record some video, do a little bit of post-production, and then maybe a little bit of wrap-up. So, what do we see? We did a forward-facing camera range test today, similar to the B-pillar camera range test I did the other day. If you hadn't seen that one, check it out. I'll put the link up here for you to reference that. Put the drone in the air, synchronized all the video, and then kind of put that little white box that you can see here in the image I'm showing you with the earliest and the latest detections I could perceive on both sides of the highway. Guys, feel free to slow frame it and see if you agree with me. I got most of the car's initial perception and when they fade away in that white box. So I'm pretty comfortable with the box in respect to its size with medium distance. So I went out there and I used my laser rangefinder. I showed links and pictures to that laser rangefinder in my previous video. No need to show it again. And the results. So the closest line, so the one closest to the car, ended up being 170 meters. Surprised me a little bit. You know, we're using a forward-facing camera range of 250 meters stated range, and the close-in perception was around 170. And much like last time, I think that the cars that get perceived later are usually cars where there's more vehicles being perceived. So there's more processing going on, or perhaps more traffic that it's tracking, and by the time it shows up on the screen, that was on that closer range. The farthest range, so like the very earliest detection, and this was easiest to do when there was no traffic coming, and then all of a sudden you get the first few pixels showing up on the screen of when the car was displayed, ended up only being 200 meters. I thought it was going to be a little longer than that. So actually, I started to question my laser rangefinder, so I went out and pasted off manually, and the laser rangefinder was right on. So the ranges are 170 to 200 in this test today. Caveating it like I did last time, that the display of assets on the screen are not necessarily the detection range. We just have no way of knowing when the computer is using that data. So we're just going to round out and say the assumption is that when it's being displayed, it's close to its detected range. Whether or not that's accurate or not, have no way to testing it. The other thing I will state is that the angle of the Model Y, and any car really, Model 3, Model S, X being a little bit higher, you know, that Trinity camera that's in the front center of your windscreen is still relatively low to a standing human. And if you actually kind of look out 250 meters, that angle it's pretty shallow. So to say that you're actually able to perceive cars and speed at that shallow angle at much further than the ranges that I saw today, is actually pretty difficult to do. You know, as a human, I kept seeing, I can see cars out there. I know they're there, but I don't know that my brain would be able to put a trajectory on them like the car is doing when it puts it on the display. It's like I can see there's traffic, but I don't quite know its motion yet. And perhaps the motion is actually determined when it's in that range that the camera it started showing it or the screen started displaying it. So it's just food for thought. You know, seeing much, much further than that is something a human can do, but not maybe to the point of placing a trajectory on it yet to understand its speed or closure rate. Anyway, something to think about. I think it was another good test. We have this one documented, and this was all done on FSDBeta 11.4.2. So over time, if we think the cameras are changing range due to the logic they're using, we'll go ahead and retest it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I thought this was another fun test, and thank you to the subscriber that recommended this additional test because I think it was a good idea. Have a great day.